Welcome back, everyone. Imagine a smell, a terrible smell. Actually, imagine two terrible smells blended together. Cat dung and sweaty gym sock. Or imagine hearing a piercing high-frequency tone, along with fingernails scraping down the chalkboard. Or maybe the taste of a stew, made of roadkill skunk and rotten fish. By themselves, these things are repulsive enough, but together, they seem even worse, if that's possible. This rather grotesque thought experiment is a fitting comparison to progressive Muslim politicians in the West who are also far-left radicals. These people hold to an Islamic worldview in various forms, which have in common all of the racism, bigotry, supremacy, and hatred Islam has to offer. Additionally, as card-carrying members of the radical left, they get to expound their twisted worldview without criticism. That's key. In left-wing thought, Muslims excel in the oppression Olympics as members of the esteemed oppressed class. What they say must go unchallenged, uncriticized. The benefit of this is that they get so confident in their opinions, which no one in their tribe would dare to correct, that they keep saying more and more and more, but they're fools. And what they say crumbles so easily under the most superficial examination and frequently reveals something deeper. So let's hear it from Ilhan Omar, talking about a white man. In this case, Charlie Kirk, but really doesn't matter. It's any white man. Let's be honest.
There was a town hall that you had 6 days ago. You called Kirk a quote, hateful man, and you had reposted a video that I'm sure you've seen you've taken criticism for. It's a video that called him a reprehensible human being and said Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein and his monster shot him through the neck. Why repost that video?
I do believe he was a reprehensible, hateful man. Like, that is my view of the words that he has said about every single identity that I belong to. He didn't believe that we should have equal access to anything. He also just didn't even believe I could be smart enough. I could have thoughts that could be equal to a white man.
That people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath.
But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history.
I think she has a thing against white men.
He also just didn't even believe I could be smart enough. I could have thoughts that could be equal to a white man.
She wants us to know she is not inferior to any white man. How easy is it to expose her self-defeating arguments? As many of you already know, very easy. Who is the whitest man of them all? That would be her prophet Muhammad. In terms of general appearance, Muhammad could be referred to as that white man over there. He's also described as having a white complexion. Moving down a bit, we find that he had a white face, lest there be any doubt. He also had white cheeks. Continuing down that ivory body, we encounter white forearms. In case you were wondering, his armpits were also white, and no doubt smelled terrible given his lack of sanitation described in other hadith. But they're white. Moving further down, the whitest man who ever whited, his abdomen was white. And moving even further down, perhaps further down than any of us would like, we get to his thigh. The prophet passed through Khaybar quickly, and my knee was touching the thigh of the prophet. This could be coincidence, but the thigh in many of these sources is a euphemism for the private part. My knee was touching the thigh of the prophet, and he uncovered his thigh. Oh, yeah. And I saw the whiteness of the thigh of the prophet, and the rest of his legs were white also. In fact, I present to you now an actual picture of Muhammad. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that you can't see him because he's so white. If Omar has problems with white men, she can start with her prophet. But does Omar have the same intellectual capacity as a white man? Or is she inferior?
He also just didn't even believe I could be smart enough. I could have thoughts that could be equal to a white man.
Well, her snowman-skinned prophet can answer this question very quickly for us. According to the God of Islam and its prophet, the whiteness of a woman is worth half that of a man. Witness. The witness of a woman is worth half that of a man. To find out why women are half as credible as men, let's ask Prophet Whitey. Muhammad said a woman's whiteness is worth half witness. Muhammad said a woman's witness is worth half that of a man's because she's intellectually deficient, which is also why women are the majority in hell. What do you think of the white man now, Congresswoman?
He also just didn't even believe I could be smart enough. I could have thoughts that could be equal to a white man.
She is a living, breathing contradiction. Her own prophet answers her questions, and not in a good way either. But now to her rhetorical questions. Yes, she's inferior, according to her own white man prophet, and odds are she'll end up in hell because that's where most women go in Islam, according to their super duper white man prophet. Now, let me give an alternate assessment of Ilhan. Her bigotry is as palpable as her hatred. Her voice trembles with hostility. Why is she so bitter? I think it's because she is inferior. She knows it. Not because of the color of her skin or gender. Those are superficial details her political and religious ideologies have trained her to obsess over. It's deeper than that. Omar cannot have a legacy of someone like Charlie Kirk, who she's criticizing, who, honestly, he's just a convenient stand-in at the present time for white men, and let's be honest, the West more broadly. What's more, Kirk's wife has earned more legitimate respect and genuine admiration from audiences in a few public appearances than Omar could in a lifetime. I think people like Omar are so angry because they know they can never be as virtuous as the people they hate so much. All they can do is blame their miserable lives on people who allegedly disadvantaged them because the fault couldn't possibly lie with them or their worldview. That would make them wrong, and nobody in Omar's circle would dare tell a Muslim woman of color she's wrong, nor would the CNN bobbleheads, as she drones on in her vocal fry, spewing her absolutely worthless and predictable commentary. Yes, Omar is angry because she is deficient in her present state. She knows it. She has to. Now, let's compare her to Erica Kirk, whose voice actually has good reason to tremble with rage as she addresses her husband's killer. Yet, it doesn't.
That young man. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do.
A toxic mix of radical leftism and Islam brings all of Omar's ideological ugliness to the surface. But a terrible act of violence brings Jesus' ethics and Christian forgiveness to the surface as well, displayed in Erica Kirk. Ilhan Omar is ideologically prevented from being so honorable. But there is a better way. As we've seen, according to Omar's religion, she is deficient, but according to Christianity, she isn't. Jesus' invitation to follow him is extended to her the same as it is to anyone else. And in the Christian worldview is a set of ethics so lofty we can spend our entire lives striving towards them, instead of dragging around an anchor of bitterness and bigotry. And I'm sure the wife of the man Omar repeatedly slandered would forgive her too. Ironically, if Omar looked, she could find forgiveness in the people she hates so much. More importantly, she could find forgiveness in their Savior, Jesus Christ. But if she chooses not to, still, in Erica's brief speech and in Omar's endless public displays of vitriol, millions of people are given a shocking contrast of worldviews. But following the example of only one of these women will make the world a much better place. And I bet even the Muslims watching know which woman that is. And that should tell you something. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.